Hey everybody, still sick, and you're getting two reviews in one day because I don't know if I'll be able to talk tomorrow. But I'm sick enough that I can't really do much except watch movies. So here we are. I want to talk about today's movie, number 83 in the Criterion Collection, The Harder They Come, directed by Perry Henzell from the United States from 1972, although that's a bit of a misnomer. It's a Jamaican film. Um, I also want to talk about representation and why it matters, and a little bit about blaxploitation cinema, if my voice lasts that long. If not, I'm sure there'll be other times. So, what is this movie? I saw somebody commented that this movie might have been the first English language film to require subtitles in America. The movie is shot in Jamaica, starring Jamaicans, and they are speaking what is called Jamaican patois, which is kind of like the Jamaican slang version of English. You can understand 75% of it, although the accents are thick, but some of the phrasing might throw you off, so the subtitles help a lot. Real quick, so the plot of the movie. It is a young man moves to the city after living in the outskirts and the rural areas of Jamaica. He wants to make a living as a reggae singer. And so he struggles to do that, ends up falling into the drug trade, and then the movie kind of spirals into blaxploitation cliches. It's a pretty good movie. I understand why it's in the Criterion Collection, and that is going to be where we talk about representation. But it is a good movie. It's a fun movie. It is essentially two genres of movie stitched together right in the middle. So it is the young man who dreams of becoming a musician, and then it is the story of a young man on the wrong side of the tracks getting involved in drugs. And those two are stitched together. When this movie came out, it was a huge deal in Jamaica because they were not used to seeing themselves on screen, their culture, their language, everything. Which is, it's shocking, and it should be shocking to you. I am the whitest man, very clearly, and I kind of assume the majority of my audience is too. And maybe that's not a fair assumption to make, but I want to talk to the white people right now. The rest of you are feel free to listen in. But when we talk about representation, I feel like a lot of white people don't understand what it really means and what it represents, because America is a cultural powerhouse for the world, right? I mean, Canada even had to pass laws to try and protect their culture from being overwhelmed by American movies and TV shows. We are a giant cultural hub for the world. And there have been times where other countries basically stop making their own movies because they have so many American movies to watch instead. And I really there are people who like to make jokes when it comes to representation. The most common one is, oh, in the Netflix adaptation, they'll make this character black when they shouldn't be. And it's the height of comedy. It's hilarious. Here's whether you agree with representation or not, I want you to try and just envision this with me. I want you to try and picture a world where you grew up going to movies, watching TV shows, but everything you saw was made in Kenya. And it's about Kenyan culture, right? You grew up in whatever small American town you're from, but every movie and every TV show you see is mostly black people, probably the occasional token white person, living their lives. We'll go ahead and let them speak English with an accent. Why not? Because otherwise it probably would make even less sense. But it's their culture. they're people. And that's all you ever see. You almost never see a white person that looks like you. And when you do, they're the villain. Can you imagine living your life like that? The only time you see somebody who looks like you on screen, they're the bad guy. And it's rare for even you to get that. That's what we're talking about when we say that representation matters. Because this film was a big deal in Jamaica in the 70s. Because Jamaicans weren't used to seeing Jamaicans in their media. This is why representation is important. People should see themselves, and the various cultures of the world should be captured. We should be able to look back and see where these civilizations came from, what they were doing, before they are inevitably lost to the tides of time. Excuse me. I am very fortunate. I'm about as mainstream a demographic as they come. White, cisgendered, straight, middle-class male. I have seen myself represented in movies, TV shows, comics, video games, forever, in a variety of roles, heroes, villains, everything. And so I could grow up going, ooh, I want to be them when I grow up. And it was no problem. That's a privilege that a lot of the world didn't have. Representation matters. Representation can also be done right or wrong. Before my voice fully gives out on me, briefly, we're going to talk about blaxploitation. I don't think this film counts as a blaxploitation film, although it does follow the tropes of it at the end. What is blaxploitation? In a big nutshell, right? Big elaborate strokes. Those of you with like a strong film background are going to be like, well, that's not the full story. I don't have time for the full story. Even if I wasn't sick, these videos aren't meant to be in-depth film school. It's just an overview. But essentially, in the mid to late 60s, Hollywood realized black people had money. And that black people would give this money in exchange for movies that represented them. I know, it sounds so stupid that this was a realization that occurred, that black people would give money to see black people on screen. But this realization just kind of burst out of nowhere, and Hollywood likes money. There are people in Hollywood that are there to tell stories and to make art, absolutely. But mostly the studio heads, the executives, they're there to make money. If they happen to make something significant along the way, that's a bonus. That's not the goal. So Hollywood discovered, hey, we're seeing that if we put black people in movies, black people will give us money. And so the blaxploitation era began. The exploitation is exploitation of black audiences, right? And there are two ways that blaxploitation films occurred, because they're not bad. Some of them are actually very significant and good. Either a studio could go and find black filmmakers, and some studios even paid for black filmmakers to go to film school to learn the trade, and then let those black filmmakers make stories about black people. This is good representation. Let the community make movies about their community, right? Other studios might have just taken the approach of make whatever. It doesn't have to be good. As long as there's black people in it, black people will give us money. And those projects weren't always made by black people. It was just made with black people to get their money. That's representation done wrong. Right? But if you grew up not ever seeing yourself represented, good or bad, you're just happy you're there. One of the most notable blaxploitation films, one of the most famous, is called Sweetback's badass song. I think the title's a little different than that, but I'm in the ballpark. And it is about Sweetback, who goes on the run from the cops. There's a sequence in the middle of the movie where it appears that the cops have killed him and he's able to sneak away. And black audiences at the time, when they saw that for the first time, all they hoped for was that he would get away. That's all they wanted to see, was him not get killed by the cops. The movie then goes on for him to get his revenge against the cops and to win. And the audience never even expected that as a possibility. They were so... The idea of somebody that looked like them succeeding was an alien concept. And if that's how you're used to seeing yourself portrayed in media, how do you feel about yourself in your actual life? How do you feel about your culture in your actual life? It's tragic. Representation matters. The fact that in the 70s, Jamaicans got to see a Jamaican film is shocking. Anyway, I'm not going any more into depth on that. I'm about done here. Another thing this movie has a reputation for is it brought reggae music to the world. The soundtrack is pretty firmly in the reggae category. I tend to doubt proclamations like that, but if that is a proclamation that is being regularly made about this film, then I think it's very likely that it did positively make an impact in the worldwide consumption of reggae music, of exposing it more so. So that's notable. It's an interesting film. I liked it. Should you watch it? Absolutely. Go check it out. It's a good time. I think I'm done. I don't feel good. Next time, number 84 is a film called Good Morning from Japan, 1959, directed by, and I'm sorry for how I'm butchering this one, Yasujiro Ozu. I don't know when you'll see me because I'm not doing another review until I feel better. Because I'm sure it's not fun to listen to me when I sound like this. Anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you next time. I'm going to go lay down.